Baghdad, 833 AD. They drag a scholar into the caliph's palace. His name is Ahmad ibn Hanbal. He's one of the most respected legal minds in the Islamic world. The interrogator asks him a question. Not about law, not about ethics. A theological question. It sounds abstract, academic, harmless. Ahmad refuses to answer the correct way. They torture him for years. He's flogged, imprisoned, humiliated. Not for murder, not for theft, for having the wrong philosophical opinion. This is the episode I was afraid to make, because it requires me to say something uncomfortable. Islamic philosophy, this tradition I've spent 3 episodes celebrating, has a shadow side. And if I don't talk about it, I'm not doing philosophy. I'm doing propaganda. The Mihna. It lasted from 833 to 851 AD. 18 years. History calls it many things. The Inquisition of Islam, the test, the great trial. But let's be precise. It was state-enforced orthodoxy. Here's what happened. The Abbasid Caliph, Al-Mamun, brilliant guy, patron of philosophy and science, becomes convinced of a theological position called Mu'tazilism. Now, both positions are defensible. Smart people disagreed. That's normal. That's how philosophy works. But here's where it goes wrong. Al-Mamun decides the Mu'tazilite position is now state doctrine. Scholars, judges, teachers, everyone in a position of authority must publicly affirm it. This is the moment philosophy became tyranny. Not because the Mu'tazilites were wrong. They weren't necessarily wrong, but because they stopped asking and started enforcing. Ahmad ibn Hanbal was in his 70s, internationally respected, could have had an easy retirement. But when the Mihna enforcers come asking, is the Quran created? He says something extraordinary. They arrest him, drag him before the caliph. They try reasoning. Just say the words. You can believe what you want privately. Just conform publicly. They flog him over and over. Elderly man, publicly humiliated. The crowd watching is horrified. This is a beloved scholar, a man who dedicated his life to knowledge. And he doesn't break. Not because he's certain he's right, but because he refuses to claim certainty he doesn't have. Here's what breaks my heart. Ahmad wasn't defending truth. He was defending the right to not know. The right to say, this question is beyond me. I will not pretend otherwise. That's not stubbornness. That's intellectual integrity. And the state tortured him for it. Fast forward 250 years. The Mihna is long over. Philosophy is thriving again. The Islamic Golden Age is at its peak. And then, Al-Ghazali, remember him from episode 1, writes a book. And here's the thing, he's not wrong. Even today, neuroscientists admit consciousness is hard to explain through materialism alone. Quantum physics is weird and paradoxical. Math has proven limits. Gödel's theorems. Al-Ghazali's critique of philosophical arrogance. Valid, important, needed. But here's what happened next. Later scholars took his work and weaponized it. They said, "See, Al-Ghazali proved philosophy is dangerous. We should ban it." For the next 500 years, parts of the Muslim world became hostile to philosophical inquiry. Not because of Al-Ghazali's nuance, but because people used his authority to shut down questions. Al-Ghazali actually wrote, "Philosophy should be scrutinized, not blindly accepted." Later authorities claimed, Al-Ghazali condemned philosophy, therefore, philosophy is forbidden. You see the pattern? A thinker makes a subtle, nuanced argument. Later generations strip the nuance, keep the conclusion, and use it as a weapon. Al-Ghazali didn't close the door to philosophy. His followers did. In his name. His thesis. Islamic civilization stopped innovating because it rejected reason in favor of rigid orthodoxy. The culprits? The Mihna, Al-Ghazali, the suppression of philosophy. It became a bestseller and deeply controversial. Because here's the problem. But Riley's defenders say there is a pattern. Many Muslim majority societies did become more intellectually closed over time. Ideas matter. When philosophy gets suppressed, innovation slows. That's measurable. Muslims are saying it too. Scholars like Mustafa Akyol wrote, "Reopening the Muslim mind, acknowledging the problem from within." So who's right? Both. And neither. Yes, there was intellectual stagnation in parts of the Muslim world, but it wasn't just ideas. It was also colonial exploitation, economic collapse, political fragmentation, environmental factors. And yet, ideas do matter. When the Catholic Church silenced Galileo, it slowed European science. When Stalin made Lysenkoism state doctrine, Soviet biology collapsed. When Mao banned bourgeois philosophy, Chinese intellectualism died. Ideas have consequences, and when philosophy becomes orthodoxy, no matter the tradition, progress stops. So that's ancient history, right? Medieval problems? No. Tyranny follows. And here's what enrages me. They claim to be protecting Islam, but questioning is Islamic. The Prophet Muhammad's companions argued with him. The Quran itself contains debates, counter-arguments, hypotheticals. Early Islamic scholars thrived on disagreement. Intellectual diversity is the tradition. When you silence it, you're not protecting Islam. You're killing it. So how do you prevent philosophy from becoming tyranny? Socrates figured it out 2,400 years ago. That's not modesty. That's method. Assume you might be wrong. Always. Even about your most cherished beliefs. When you're about to say, "I'm 100% certain," stop. Change it to, "Based on what I know now, I believe." The people who disagree with you aren't enemies. They're error correction mechanisms. The moment philosophy merges with state power, it dies. Philosophy should critique power, not become power. Here's my commitment. If Hikmah Horizons ever gets big enough that I have influence, I want you to question everything I say. I want dissent in the comments. I want scholars correcting me. I want challenges. Because the moment I stop welcoming that, the moment I say I'm right, stop asking, I've become what I'm critiquing. And I need you to call me out if I do. So after all this, why do I still make videos about Islamic philosophy? If it's been weaponized, if it's led to oppression, if it has this shadow side, why not just walk away? Because every tradition has a shadow. Does that mean we abandon Buddhism, Christianity, humanism, science? No, it means we integrate the shadow. If Islamic philosophy, if any philosophy, pretends it has no shadow, that shadow will control it. But if we acknowledge the shadow, if we study where it went wrong, if we build in safeguards, then we can access the light without being consumed by the dark. Islamic philosophy gave us revolutionary ethics, mind-body practices, scientific method, compassionate jurisprudence, and it also gave us inquisitions, suppression, dogmatism, violence in truth's name. I still believe in this tradition, not because it's perfect, but because it's honest enough to look at its imperfections. Every crack in the tradition is an opportunity to learn, to grow, to do better.